We're live, baby. We're back in action. Look at us go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the King's Court Podcast, sponsored by RateCrushers.com. It's been a little while, guys, since I've done a live show, right? I've been off the grid a little bit. I've been finishing school, and I really just finished. So one semester down, or I should say, 1 year down, and feels good. Feels good to be back in school. Pushing into my 30s now and just still wanting to learn and learn new things. So I'm pretty pumped about that. And even more so, I think what I'm doing is going to continue helping me down the road with just how I look at players and look at the NBA and just slow my mind down a little bit. Like this is really going to help me quite a bit. So shout out to all the graduates that are just recently graduating. I got a graduation party next week for my niece. She's graduating from high school next week, which is going to be awesome. So again, shout out to all the graduates out there. I mean, I haven't graduated, but I finished a whole year in, and it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to stay with school and everything like that. And I'm telling you, if you're into something that you love, keep pushing through. You know what I mean? It pays off in the end, and I know for me, this is going to pay off huge. This doesn't really look that lined up. Let me unlock this here and try to see if I can recenter that. Dang. There we go. Boom. Recentered. But alright, guys, welcome to this episode of the King's Court, where, as you can tell by the title, we are talking nothing but NBA draft conversation in here. And I got the live chat open. You guys can join the conversation there. I want to see what you guys are thinking about a lot of these prospects, especially when it comes to the Kings pick at number 4. And man, was that a day to see the Kings getting the number 4 pick in the draft, and really it literally blew my mind away seeing that go up that high. I was expecting the Kings to be picking at 7. I was already doing a lot of my draft workup to see like the Kings being at 7 and who could be there, and the potential. And number 1 for me was Benedict Mathern. He was the first guy that came to my head, so I thought he would have been the player that we saw there, but Kings move up to number 4, and it is what it is, man. I think that's a great spot for the Kings to really identify what they want and what they need at that number 4 pick. And this is a make or break moment for the Kings, I think, with this number 4 pick, with Monty being on an expiring deal as the GM, them hiring a brand new head coach and Mike Brown. This is a pivotal moment in the Sacramento Kings franchise and deciding where they're going to go with this number 4 pick. So in this show, and I got 2 more shows coming out this week. So tomorrow I'll be doing another live show with Bryant West of the Kings Herald. He'll be joining me tomorrow. So shout out to Brian for joining me on that show. And then I also got Brendan Nunez joining me at the end of the week to, again, just probably wrap up more of these conversations that we're having about a ton of these prospects. And the show is going to be a lot more consistent now due to a new schedule change. I mean, obviously with school, it was crazy, but school now being over, I'll be back on doing these pods quite a bit. You'll probably see me over at Cowbell doing guest work there. Obviously here on my channel, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing, man? Hit that subscribe button, bro. What are you doing? And then just obviously just doing all these other different shows that I have been doing and being a part of, which has been a lot of fun. And again, guys, I'm super excited to hear all these conversations and be a part of the conversation. And I think it's funny that I'm getting a lot of hate recently for my recent trades that I've been putting out there in the Twitter sphere. Twitter has not really been in a love with me until recently when I put out the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade. And if you guys want to talk about that, we can talk about that as well. I want to hear all of your guys' thoughts once we get done with these first couple of topics, or only couple of topics for today's show, which is giving you guys some of my player comps, like NBA player comps that I have for a few of these top prospects. I've got to watch quite a bit of tape on a lot of these guys, and I feel like I can say this with some real confidence that I am extremely high on Chet and Jabari. I'm extremely high on them. But for me, I think in my mind, the best player in this draft, if you look at just pure talent of what it could be, pure talent with upside, I think Paolo Banchero, however you pronounce his last name, is the guy of the draft. And the fact that he's going to be number 3, some are saying he slides to the Kings at 4. There's the rumors that the Kings potentially could move into the top 2 if they wanted to move up that way. I think Paolo Banchero is the guy that you want to go for. Not only can he shoot the basketball, he can handle the basketball. I feel like he has over the rest of the top 3. And I'm going to tweet out this show right now because I realized I didn't do that. So let me tweet this out. This is what happens on live shows, guys. You got to just bear with me for just a moment. Those who are listening to the podcast later on, listening to us on iTunes and Spotify, first I appreciate all the support, the reviews. I just recently went in for all the reviews. And, man, this show gets a lot of 5-star reviews. I mean, we have a couple 3 and 4s, but to never get below a 3-star and to see you guys' reviews, I think I want to say thank you. I really do appreciate it. It's helped me get us the sponsors that I have. It's helped me meet the connections that I have. Like, I don't want to shout out to Jim from Brick House, man. Brick House was like my very first sponsor. He was the one that started making the Sac Kings Nation shirts. Like, he's starting to get well known now, and I'm super pumped for it. Him doing the stuff with James and a lot of these other podcasts, but me and him were like the 1-2 punch. We originated for it. So shout out to him, man. I mean, I love the work that he's doing. We sold out of all the Sac Kings Nation hats. I probably will get the Kings Court hats going up next. And then the tank tops. We're still trying to set up this 3-on-3 tournament. There's a lot of jumps and hoops you got to go through to set up something like that. But yeah, it's the 3-on-3 tournament's coming, guys. If you're in the Sacramento area, the 3-on-3 tournament's coming, and it's going to be well worth it. So back to what I was saying, though. I think Paolo Banchero has the potential out of the top 3 guys, top 10 guys, honestly. I mean, I feel like his overall skill set has the potential to be superstar over everyone else. Like, I feel Jabari Smith could be an all-star level player. I feel he is like one of the best. He's one of the best shooters I think you can ever get at a power forward spot coming out of the draft. He doesn't have much more than that jumper. He's very, stagnant in his movements, I should say. Like, he stands still quite a bit, but he has a nice jump shot. That jump shot is, I can't. When we get to the player comps, and I'm waiting until people can start seeing that we are live, and before I start going into the full topic. But Jabari Smith is a really good basketball player, and there's a good chance I could see him going number 1. I think his upside as a defender with that length, the athleticism, and the fact that he can shoot the 3 so as well as he does is something that you have to be in awe of, and it's potentially going to be the number 1 pick. But for me, I think the number 1 pick for Orlando should be Chet. Holmgren makes the most sense. I think I feel like everyone knew he was the number 1 pick coming into the draft. It's so crazy because I thought it was battling between Chet and Paolo, right? Prior to heading into June and seeing the tournament, it was Chet 1, Paolo 2, Paolo 1, Chet 2, and then Jabari just popped on the scene, and now he's projected to be the number 1 pick going to Orlando. It would be surprising to see if he didn't at this point, which I think that's pretty crazy in itself, you know what I mean? But shooting pays off in this league. I mean, this league is such a shooting league now that on a 3-on-2 fast break in an NBA Eastern Conference Finals when there's 18 seconds left on the clock, we're stopping and popping at a 3-point shot. That's how much this league is a 3-point league. And I find that to be just that's crazy to me. That's insane. But yeah, I like Jabari Smith. I think he's a generational shooter. He really could be. I have him compared to a future Hall of Famer, if not already in the Hall of Fame, in Dallas. I just think he's going to be that guy. And I think when he goes to Orlando, he's going to be a perfect fit with Wendell. The question I have with Orlando is, what are they going to be doing with Jonathan Isaac? Because Jonathan Isaac proved to be a really good basketball player. Jonathan Isaac proved that he can play on both sides of the basketball. He has some Pascal Siakam in him. It's just about being healthy at this point. If you're not healthy, what are you doing, and that's obviously going to be the biggest concern when it comes to Jonathan Isaac. But he and I mean Jabari Smith can change the game for Orlando with how much that they're doing. Sorry guys, I'm still trying to retweet out the show and get everything going. You know what I mean? So that's just the big thing for me. And I'm also like looking at the Twitter comments that we're going through because I'm still getting messages for the Kings going to get Shai Gilgeous. I just think Jabari makes the most sense in Orlando. They're trying to go for 3-and-D. I think they have it there. I think Franz made great sense getting him where they did last year. He's showed that he can do a lot off the dribble as much as being a sniper. You get another sniper in Jabari. They have plenty of guards. I just think Chet has a higher upside. I mean, and I think people are. I don't understand how he went from being this crazy good college basketball player, and then now he's just being undervalued. He's being undervalued because of his size and the way he runs. I just recently saw a scout message and talk about how, they're worried about the way that he runs. They say that the way that he runs could be detrimental to how he can grow as a player because he has an arch in his back. And to me, I mean, I'm like, I guess I obviously see the arch. You can't deny that there's definitely an arch in his back when he runs, but it's not as if like that's going to be the thing that stops him. You know what I mean? That's not going to be the thing that defines Chet Holmgren. I can't even pronounce the name when I speak fast. So I just don't understand. I really feel like he's showed enough that he can dribble the ball in transition. He has showed enough that he can hit the three-point shot. Defensively, he has been an absolute monster. So that I feel like I don't like the comp I have for him, honestly, but it was the only comp I could really find. So you're going to see when I get to that one. And then, like I said, Paolo is going to be the guy that I have going I think he has the best chance to becoming a superstar out of this draft. So let's go ahead and jump on in. I think I've given it enough time for people to join the live show. For everyone that is joining, I appreciate you. Please do me a huge favor. Get this video trending. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. You know what I mean? If you dislike it, let me know there. As we're going to go ahead and start diving into my player comps. Once we get through the player comps, I'll go through the top 10. If we have any conversations going on through the Twitter, if you guys want to hear the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade, my thoughts on it. Again, I'm the one who posted it and everything like that. It really took a life of its own. 50 retweets, 100 likes, retweets on retweets, getting me called. I got one side calling me stupid, one side saying, why would the Oklahoma City Thunder do that? If you guys want to talk about that, you guys let me know as we go through these player comps here. So the first one I want to do, and I think it's the reason why I want to do this one is because this was the player I was watching the most film on heading into the draft lottery, which was the Kings are going to be landing somewhere around 7. My favorite player in that range, and he still is at the moment, is Benedict Mathern. I think Matherin's athleticism, his ability that he's learned to dribble the basketball, and his explosion off one leg has been great. I think he has improved tremendously as a shooter. We got to see a little bit of it during his pro day workout. I want to see what he does, obviously, when in a team-based setting, but just watching the game, and watching his game and watching film on him, both good and bad. I mean, he does rush a little bit. He puts his head down too often to try and make something happen with the basketball. He's not the best at catch and shoot, but he definitely improved in not only his shooting form, but knocking down shots. So for me, Benedict Mathern was someone I had my eye on. And people love hearing player comps, so here's my player comp to him. I think he's a Quentin Richardson. For me, I think Quentin Richardson is the player I see in Benedict Mathern. Now the upside. Now I think there is an upside to Benedict Mathern. I think he's still a very raw talent. I mean, for all I know, he can turn into Gerald Green, but he is a very raw talent. He is Benedict Mathern, and I think that if he does develop correctly, if he lands in a Portland, or he lands, I mean, he's not going to fall. He's not going to fall too much further than I don't think he falls to 8, but if he finds a way and he falls to San Antonio, I have the upside of a Jaylen Brown on Benedict Mathern. If he falls to 9, or San Antonio finds a way to get into that top 6, and they snag Benedict Mathern, I feel like they have a perfect fit next to DeJounte Murray, number 1. And number 2, I feel like they can develop him into being a defender, continue improving on his jump shot and the athleticism. He could be a Jaylen Brown type of player. That's his upside. That's his max upside. Regardless, I think he could be a Quentin Richardson. Super athletic, straight knucklehead, just get to the basket, boom, boom, dunk on you. I mean, someone bring that back, by the way. Bring back the knucklehead. You know what I mean? I want to see that celebration. Stop going 3 to the head. Let's be the knuckleheads out there. Bring that stuff back. For all those people that don't know what that is, Google Quentin Richardson. Look at his game. He's solid. Next up, we have Keegan Murray. And I've been getting so much hate on the Keegan Murray front because I'm not saying that I'm not high on Keegan Murray. So Keegan Murray to the Kings has been widely speculated that could be the guy for them. I've said it since the lottery day. I've said it over the past few weeks, and I'll continue saying it now. At number 4, you don't draft best fit. You draft best player available, highest upside available. And to me, that is Jaden Ivy. We'll get to his player comp in a moment. But Keegan Murray is a really good basketball player. I feel like I have downplayed his skills a little bit. And for that, I apologize because there are people that are calling me out on it. But the undervalue that I'm giving him is still a player who just recently got paid by his team and played a pivotal role in these playoffs. And after more review and after more study of his game, I gave him an even bigger upside potential than what I initially did. So you're going to hear that higher upside in a moment. But I think his floor is what was my original player comp. I just feel like there's questions for me about Keegan Murray about if his game can translate to the next level. Is he going to be able to do a back to the basket post move like he did in college? Because his post moves were very mechanical. That's not a good word. It's very basic. The fundamentals were there, but he really just wants to turn that shoulder or get squared up to hit that jump shot. That jump shot is nice too. That's not tonight. Keegan Murray's jump shot is probably one of the best in this draft as well. But I don't know if he has a full offensive game. Now, for fit-wise in Sacramento, it definitely makes sense. Another thing that scares me about him being such a good fit, quote unquote, for most here, is I'm not sold on him being a heavy screener. I don't know if he's that good at setting screens, and if he's always going to want to pop. He rolled to the basket a little bit in college, obviously, but it was a lot of screen fade out for the pop. He wants to shoot those threes. But for me, I had a Dorian Finney-Smith. That was my player comp there. I think Dorian Finney-Smith is his floor. I think he could, no matter what, he's going to bring a professional mindset. He's going to be in there and play defense, and he's going to knock down threes. Other people have said Mikal Bridges. I could see that as well. If he can get a little bit of a better handle, not even tremendously a better handle, just like a nice 4 dribble. All he needs is a 4 dribbles, like 5 moves for a 4 dribble set. His upside to me is a Tobias Harris. And Tobias Harris is really good. He's a really good basketball player. Both Dorian Finney-Smith and Tobias Harris are really good. They're both impact players. I think Keegan Murray, no matter where he goes, he's going to make an impact just because of his shooting, his professionalism. I mean, just listen to the guy talk. I just recently watched the video of him being interviewed by Pacers beat writer James Boyd, who we've had on this show. He got to interview him during the Combine and at the Combine. And, he holds himself in such a high nature. He likes to be very professional. And hearing scouts, one of the scouts that I spoke to about Keegan Murray, they said that he's one of those will give you the same energy every single time, whether it's on a clutch basket for a 3 or on misses. His mindset is to win the game. He doesn't give you any reactions until the game is over. And it just speaks to his competitive mindset. So I think Keegan Murray is going to be an impact player right away. So my player comps for him are going to be Dorian Finney-Smith with the upside of becoming a Tobias Harris. Next up, we have Jaden Ivy. And, Jaden Ivy. I love Jaden Ivy. I think Jaden Ivy is, and I even said it in the tweet, that the closer we get to draft day, the more obvious it will become that Jaden Ivy is the clear best player available at number 4. That's what I said. I said that all these people that are on the Shaden Sharp train, I get it. I get why you like the mystery of it. But at number 4, I'm not sold on that pick. And that I think it'll become very clear that Jaden Ivy will be the best player available at number 4. And that's who the Kings need to select. You don't got to worry about fit right now when you're the Kings. You need to worry about acquiring talent. And Jaden Ivy has so much of that. The first step to get by you, the ability to jump over anyone in the gym. That jump shot, while it's still improving, to shoot 35% from 3 at the college level, what makes you think that can't translate over to the next stage? I mean, we could say the same thing for Davion Mitchell, but his shot was starting to get better as this season progressed. Hopefully that can continue with someone like a Jaden Ivy that can get more off-the-ball work done, becoming a slasher. And I think that's another thing, too. Like, De'Aaron Fox is really good at slashing to the basket, as is Ivy. And I think the cool thing about Fox is he has that mid-range game. And Sabonis trying to stretch out, picking up the ball from the three-point line, they can work together. I think there's too much thought into they don't fit. That's too big of a mindset that people are putting on it, and too much, worry about it. And it shouldn't really happen like that. But Jaden Ivy, very explosive, ability to shoot the ball. I love the fact that he can switch gears. He has a little Ja Morant in him with that giddy up, just because he did get to follow him. It's probably been talked about enough. His mom coached Ja at Memphis. He got to study right there next to him, took little pieces and parts of his game and brought it there. So for me, the player comp, I like the one that Tony gave me better than this. He said Steve Francis. I said Gilbert Arenas. Now, Gilbert Arenas had a way more 3-level scoring ability in college, but I see a lot of Jaden Ivy in that Gilbert Arenas game. The ability to get you with the jab, get you with that first step, pull back, still hit you with that three-pointer. And I think that's also a lot of the reason why people see a Donovan Mitchell in him. I don't see the Donovan Mitchell, but I do. I see the Gilbert Arenas, a willingness and ability to just use that explosiveness to get inside and finish around the rim. I love the Steve Francis just because he Stevie Franchise, man. If you guys don't remember Steve Francis in Houston, that guy was a monster, bro. He was so good. One of the best highlight films you can watch at that point guard spot. Fun fact, when I play NBA 2K and I use the Houston Rockets, he's my starting point guard. I love using him. He is a very explosive player, and I think I love that player comp as well. You've seen others come out and say that he's Russell Westbrook at this time of his career, just more of a scoring mindset than he is of a passer that Westbrook is. I think people forget just how good Westbrook was when he first came out. Like, Westbrook scored 43 points in the NBA Finals against the Miami Heat, and a lot of it was because of that mid-range pop right there at the free throw line, the ability to hard stop and hit that mid-range jumper. If Ivy can develop that, as well as continuing to develop that three-point shot, he can be a crazy good basketball player. So for me, I think Gilbert Arenas, Steve Francis, and I also have Anthony Edwards as the type of player that Jaden Ivy is. I think he has the lowest floor out of the top 5 guys, which are expected to be Smith, Holmgren, Banchero, Ivy, and Murray. I think Ivy has the lowest floor. That sounds kind of scary, which is why I can also see people being so nervous about this pick. But I also feel like he has the same upside as a Banchero to become a star in this league. And James Ham, he said it best on his show. This guy's gonna sell tickets. The way he plays and how explosive he plays, this guy's going to sell you tickets. He's going to put butts in seats. He's going to be fun to watch. And you're telling me that a backcourt of this speed between Ivy and Fox doesn't excite you? That would blow me away a little bit. That would blow me away. I think that would be one of the most fun things you can watch. Only 2 people in here? Man, Vince is losing his following. Who do you want us to draft at 4? Benedict Mathern comparison is Ben McLemore 2.0. Blessed Keegan Murray play like Paul George. I mean, losing a following. Axakid, I don't know if it's losing his following would be the best thing for me to say, for saying there's only 2 people in here. I think it's more of just it randomly happened. It's not like I was promoting this heavy. 30 minutes out, said I was going to do a live show. It's more like that. It's not like I do this for a ton of views at one time, and a lot of my shows I've been really doing as guests for CK. There's that. Who do you want us to draft at 4? I'll get there. I think Ivy is the best player available, Patrick. I think Ivy's going to be the one that you pick. Benedict, his comparison is Ben McLemore 2.0. Keegan Murray plays like Paul George. I don't know if Benedict Matherin's 2.0 is Ben McLemore, because Ben McLemore could freaking shoot that thing out of call. I was high on Ben McLemore. I was wrong on that. I'll be honest. I was high on Ben McLemore. When the Kings had the potential of drafting Ben McLemore, when they selected him, I was in downtown Sacramento. I was doing something right. I was doing a live show as well as being like right next to the KHTK. So KHTK was right here. Carmichael Dave was there. I was here. We were inside of what's called Firehouse, I think is the name of it. I remember just the crowd going crazy for that pick. I was really high on Ben McLemore. I thought he was going to be really good. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way. Yeah. I don't know about the Keegan Murray playing like Paul George thing. If anything, I can see I guess a Danny Granger. Paul George is just too much sauce, but that Paul George had such a better handle. Paul George can come off of a screen and carry a basketball. Like, he does not play like Paul George at all. I personally don't see it. So, yeah. So, like I said, going back to the player comps, Jaden Ivy, I have Stevie Francis. I got Gilbert Arenas. I got Anthony Edwards. Next up, we have Shaedon Sharpe. And I think this is one that everyone is just guessing for Shaedon Sharpe. And, you know, this is what I keep hearing about Sharpe is, yeah, he's a mystery, and yeah, he only played in high school, and he didn't really practice much at Kentucky, but he was that guy. I mean, go look at his film. He was that good, and yada, yada, yada. And, you know, there's players that come out of high school like Kevin Garnett and all this stuff that are players that are automatically going to translate to the next level. He wasn't that good of a shooter, as much as people want to say he's this sharpshooter. No, I guess I see what I did there. He wasn't really that much. I think he shot like 32% from 3 in high school. Back on those stats. It was like 32%. Not a great, and he wasn't known as a great shooter. His ball handling is there. I definitely see the ball handling. The explosiveness is there. I definitely see it. Defense is questionable. We just don't know. We just don't know. That's why I can never see the Kings taking him at 4. If they take him at 4, I think that is the biggest home run swing that they can take. I think that's the biggest home run swing you could take. And I mean, we can go back. So I got to speak with this scout recently. I posted it, and I think he's okay with me just letting him know that it was him. But it was Rafael Barlow of NBA Draft Big Board. I was reaching out to him, trying to get him on the show, and you know, due to scheduling, we weren't able to get it done. But I asked him, I was like, "Who's the best prospect in your opinion between Murray, Ivy, and Sharpe? And who do you like most for the Kings at number 4?" And this is quote. This is literally from verbatim from Rafael Barlow. "I think Murray fits the roster right now and makes the most sense, but I believe Ivy is the best player of the 2. But there would be redundancy with drafting a guard for the 4th time in 5 years," talking about the Kings. "Sharpe is the wild card, and the Kings don't have anything to lose by swinging for the fences. I'd probably gamble on Sharpe depending on his individual team workout." That's from Rafael Barlow. That's who that messages were from. I think that's huge. I think that is like, that's a bold statement to say, and just saying that Sharpe would be the guy, the Kings have nothing to lose, that's the guy you should take. And there are people that think that he could be the best player in this draft. He was, you know, rated number 1 coming out of high school. He kind of finessed the system in college. Okay, so let's look past all that, right? We're looking past that. Let's go ahead and go to the player comp portion of it. So for the player comp for me, I have Brandon Roy. If everything pans out right. I don't have a floor because I don't know what the floor is. I'm not going to give a floor. I'm just saying what the upside could be if he develops. If Shaedon Sharpe develops into something, I say he can become a Brandon Roy, which that would be solid. A solid Brandon Roy. Someone that can score, nice mid-range jumper, nice athleticism, not crazy fast, but just gets you with his cleverness, comes off screens well, can handle the basketball well, dribble through traffic. Like, if Shaedon Sharpe becomes that guy, I think he can turn into a Brandon Roy. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that would be a huge get for the Kings at number 4. I just personally don't like that. I just don't like that pick. It doesn't make sense to me personally. I don't like it. With Jabari Smith, I've talked about his game enough. I have him as a Dirk Nowitzki type of. That was his max comp for me. I don't know how much more he has. I don't know how much more he has other than that setup 3 or that walk-in 3, but it's so lethal. And he doesn't need too much room to get his shot off. His athleticism is obviously going to be better. I want to see that defensive potential that he has actually come to fruition, because potential is nothing. Potential is what gets GMs fired. But I want to see what it can be. If he can develop into a good defense and that jump shot stays pure and it translates over, I mean, Jabari could be something really special, man. I think it could be Dirk 2.0, and then his low end I think is just Jaren Jackson. I think low end is Jaren Jackson Jr., which would be another solid get for Orlando. If you can put like a Jaren Jackson next to a Wendell Carter Jr., I think that makes perfect sense. I'm really high on Jabari Smith. I think Jabari Smith. I think he should go number 1, honestly. I really do. I really do think he goes number 1. I think talent, just because he can come in right away and his talent makes sense, like his play style makes sense. It's the same thing why people think Murray should go at 4. I think Orlando wants someone that they know is going to fit their roster. Jabari Smith fits that. They need shooting on that team. Jabari Smith fits that. And they need someone young that has upside. Jabari checks all. I think he has length. He can shoot. Upside, age. Fits their timeline. It checks all the boxes. I like it a lot. I think he just goes number 1. And then Chet Holmgren. I say, look, I hate my player comp for Chet Holmgren. I'm just being honest. But it was the only way I could. It was the only way I could really tie it together. So it's not even one player. It's a mix of 2. I have no idea why people continue to downplay his size. Like, they're like, oh yeah, he's too skinny. He's 195 at 7 feet tall. Evan Mobley was only a couple pounds heavier. I think he was like 10 pounds heavier coming out of the draft. Chet Holmgren's defense has been phenomenal through this college season. I think it's like historical even. I don't want to go crazy, but I'm pretty sure I've seen people call this thing a historical run. His defense is so good, man. He moves his feet well. He's great on the help side. The fact that a 7-footer can grab a basketball, charge it up the court, and finish around the rim with a nice dunk through contact, or if he comes off that screen and pops out and shoots that 3, he just has. He has everything in his game. There's nothing I don't think this guy could do. So, for me, his player comp is a mixture between LaMarcus Aldridge and Miles Turner. And I really don't like it because he can put the ball on the ground. Now, Aldridge can put the ball on the ground, but that's only in the post. Like, Holmgren can get the ball on the high post, jab step you, dribble down to the post, and then shoot. He can also take the step back. Like, I don't know. I feel like he made the most sense to go number 1 until Orlando landed that pick. But then you hear that OKC isn't really that high on him. And again, it's about the size. You're hearing OKC is really infatuated with Jaden Ivy. I don't know. I just think Chet's really good. I think if any of these top 3 guys follow the Kings should be sprinting as hard as they can to get this phone call into the office and let the draft people know we're taking one of them top 3 players. If any of them fall. So Chet Holmgren, like I said, it's a mixture of Miles Turner, and LaMarcus Aldridge. Banchero, for me, I mean, I see he doesn't have the crazy athleticism of it, but I see like Blake in there. He just, the thing that scares me about him is that he could be like a Jabari Parker. Like everyone thought Jabari could be this ball handler and everything like that, but he's just such a good passer as well. Like he can pass the basketball. He rebound just for his size. Like he's not a great rebounder, but because of his size, he's gonna get you boards. At 6'10", 250, he's gonna get you boards. I mean, I love that he can handle the basketball. I mean, I see the Blake Griffin comp, like I really do. I think Blake Griffin makes sense. I don't ever want to say Ben Simmons just because Ben Simmons' defense is just out of there. It's just so good. Could you say he's Scotty Barnes-esque? I think that would be a good comp, is Scotty Barnes. But yeah, I see more Blake in him than anything. So those are my comps, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I've already been seeing quite a few in the chat saying, the Paul George for Keegan Murray and stuff like that. I find that stuff to be pretty interesting. Patrick, to answer your question, who do you want at 4? If any of the top 3 guys fall, I would take any of them. Chet, Paolo, obviously, I think would be the best. Jabari would go there. And then if none of those guys are available, you go strictly to that 4th pick. I think it's obvious it's going to be Jaden Ivy. I think Jaden Ivy is the guy. He's the best player available. You take that. You worry about fit later. Get as much talent as you can. As much talent to where the Kings are so competitive because they have this talent. And you have these building blocks. And once that's there, then try and see how they fit to build the house. You know what I mean? Like, you need the pieces first. The Kings don't have enough of them. Kings don't have enough pieces. So with that being said, let's go ahead and finish this show up with the mock draft and how I have it going currently right now in the top 10. So with the first pick in the draft, the Orlando Magic, I have them taking Jabari Smith. Number 2, I have OKC selecting Chet Holmgren. Number 3, I got Houston taking Banchero. Number 4, I have the Kings taking Jaden Ivy. I think Jaden Ivy makes the most sense. No, I didn't say. So I see Banchero. His comparison is Weber. I didn't say Weber. I mean, I can see, I guess, kind of the Weber thing, but he has a better ball handler than he's a better ball handler than Chris Weber at this point. I mean, this guy was literally like a point forward. I mean, that's why I'm saying Scotty Barnes or Blake Griffin even. Just, I mean, he has a better ball handler than Blake, but just that size. I mean, I can see Chris. I get what you're saying. The jump shot's there. Mid-range pop is there. I think Scotty Barnes is probably like a good one, but Scotty Barnes' defense and IQ is just better than what Banchero's is right now. So, I mean, if he can turn into Chris Webber, that'd be amazing. So, again, just to wrap up the mock, I got Orlando taking Smith. I got OKC at 2 taking Holmgren. I got Banchero going 3 to Houston. I have Jaden Ivy going number 4 to Sacramento. I have Detroit taking Keegan Murray at 5. At 6, this is where it gets a little different. I have them taking AJ Griffin. I think that they're going to take a wing with defensive upside. I think that they need wing depth, so they take AJ Griffin there. At number 7, I have the Portland Trail Blazers taking Benedict Mathern. I think just adding that size next to both Anthony Simons, Lillard, and he can develop off the bench and be that guy. Could they turn him into like another Gary Trent Jr. maybe and just let him work on his jump shot and then have that athleticism? It just makes sense there. I think that they take the best player available, and to me, that's going to be Benedict Mathern. At number 8, you know the name of who I haven't said yet. At number 8, I have the New Orleans Pelicans taking Ochai. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Agbaji. I think that's how you'd pronounce it. Another defensive 2 guard. I think he can shoot down that three ball. They're gonna need shooting with this team with Zion, and they have CJ gonna be the starting point. I mean, I like their team. I just think it gives them another wing to look at. As good as Herb Jones was, they still needed shooting on the floor next to Ingram and all them. So I think that's who they'll take there in New Orleans. They're gonna take the Agbaji, and obviously the defense is gonna help. If ever Herb Jones has to miss time. At number 9, I have the San Antonio Spurs taking Shaedon Sharpe. I think Shaedon Sharpe is... I think they're willing to take a question mark on him. I really do. I think they know what they have in DeJounte. I think I don't know. I just think that it's one of those things where they know that they've proven to develop talent no matter where they've gotten it from. They've proven that they can develop talent, and there is upside to Sharp. And you're getting a guy who some have projected to be in the top 4. No one would be surprised if he fell this low, but you're getting this type of player with question marks, kind of like Michael Porter Jr., right? He had that back. There were so many question marks. This is kind of where they fall, that 9-10 range, and the Spurs will get a nice talent that could potentially play. Couldn't speak there for a second. Next to DeJounte Murray. So I think Sharp makes sense here at number 9. And at number 10 for the Washington Wizards, look, they need a point guard, and I think that the hype around this guy has not gone away. I think there's real belief that this guy is going in the top 10, and I think it's going to be right here to the Washington Wizards that could use a point guard next to Bradley Beal, and it's going to be Dyson. I forget what was his last name. Dyson Daniels. Shooter, high IQ passer. I think that they're okay with Raul Neto filling in whenever they can, or Ish Smith wherever they can, but just letting Daniels go do whatever he can do. I mean, he played against men in the G League, so they know the talent that he is. He's a shooter, again, high IQ passer, dribbles in between the lanes. I think he would fit very well next to Bradley Beal and just to develop next to him. The big question I think everyone has is Bradley Beal going to be there? I mean, I think that's huge. That's a huge question mark, because then you can have Daniels, Beal, Kuzma, Kristaps, and then really trying to figure out who's playing that 3 spot. Is it going to be Denny? Is it going to be Rui? I mean, that's they need that wing spot. Or do you just do KCP? Just keep running that out and have Beal be your 3. That'll be size problems. Let's see here. Go back down to the chat. Boncheros, we talked about that with mid-range shooting. Same, I would take Jaden also. It would be fun playing with De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, man. I think De'Aaron Fox and Jaden Ivy as a 1-2 punch. I mean, people were excited about the idea of possibly Oladipo and Fox and the speed there. And that was when right before Oladipo even got hurt. I mean, this could be that same thing. People wanted to see De'Aaron Fox and Donovan Mitchell. Some have compared Jaden Ivey to Donovan Mitchell. This is the chance to get it. This type of upside is what you need. This is still a guard-driven league as well. You want talented guards on this team. I think the talent makes sense. Man. I would 100% go with Jaden Ivey after those top 3 guys. All right, guys, we have been doing this show for 42 minutes. I want to take this time to thank all of you that had joined me on this show live. Again, this was like a random 30 minutes before the show went live. We did it, and you guys get to join the conversation. We got to talk a lot about player comps. Gave you my top 10. That was a lot of fun. Players that were out of the top 10 that I thought a lot of people, or most people were excited to hear possibly their names. Tari Eason, he's been gaining a lot of momentum heading into the top 10. Johnny Davis was another one. Jalen Duren was another one that people are possibly thinking could slide into that top 10. Those guys missed out, obviously. But you see how I had Mathern slide to Portland. I had AJ Griffin move up to Indiana at 6. I had Sharp drop all the way down to 9. So I think you're going to see a lot of mocks start to change the closer and closer that we get to draft day. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm more excited than ever to continue these type of talks with my 2 guests. So in case you missed it in the beginning of the show, tomorrow I will be doing another show around this time, around noon, with Bryant West of the Kings Herald. And then Friday, I have guest Brendan Nunez coming back on the show, host of the Kings Pulse podcast, as well as co-hosting and being a guest over there with the Kings Beat and James Ham. He also works with the Kings Herald as well. So I'm having those 2 guys on this week. Following it, going into next week, I'm hopefully going to have Rafael Barlow of NBA Draft Big Board, and then I might get one of my OKC friends that cover OKC as a beat writer there to possibly jump on the show next week, and we can talk about my Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade. So a lot of good stuff coming on. If you haven't done so already, man, please hit that subscribe button so you're a part of the show. Join us on all these live shows. Follow me on Twitter at VMCenter, right there, bada bing. At SKN Articles to follow the King Score and Sack Kings Nation. Sack Kings Nation hats, guys. If you are interested, you want to do another round, you got to let me know. Leave it in the comments section below. Again, thank you all. Shout out to our sponsors, RateCrushers.com. If you guys are looking for good insurance and making sure that you're not overpaying for your insurance, go to RateCrushers.com and let them crush your deal and make sure you're not overpaying to be protected. Again, hit that like button. Thank you all so much. And until next time, Sacramento Kings fans,